So there's going to be a little bit of silence at the beginning of this talk. And then if anything arises, I will go ahead and express it. So awakening is the separation of thought. So it's the temporary cessation of thought, the temporary identification with thought. So post an awakening, thought still arises, but it's no longer being identified with. It doesn't mean that those thoughts aren't being experienced. But most people are experiencing their thoughts. And thought is not the primary reality. Thought is not what you are. Thought is appearing in what you are. This is the foundation of non-duality. You are not your thoughts. So most probably the attempt after hearing a message like this is to try and get back to that realization, trying to find that realization. So the irony of that is that it's still just thought attempting to resolve itself, resolve its problem in thought. Thought is only concerned with problems. Okay, let me repeat that. Thought is only concerned with problems. And that is why there's suffering. Okay, and suffering is a constriction. It is a feeling of separation, a feeling of experiencing separation in the body. So in thought identification, the experience is happening in this form, and that's it. It ends here. Experience ends in this form. That is Kate. Okay, once thought and awareness have separated, it's a completely different experience. The functionality of thought, which is primarily acquisition, control, navigation, still arises. However, through time, upon the seeing that one is not thought, that mechanism will most likely relax. It's not going to try as hard to contain appearances and to find satisfaction in them. Self-help, positive affirmations, psychology, psychotherapy, yoga, meditation. These are all excellent mechanisms to help resolve and relax the separate entity. But realization will not be found in those mechanisms. I shouldn't say that. It might be found. Anything's possible. But thought cannot find its true nature through thought. What you are has nothing to do with thought. The more heavily identified a form, an identity, a separate self, or an ego is, the more difficult it might be to hear this message. However, what the seeing, what an awakening will do is that it will make the identification more evident. It'll make the forms that you are holding on to and attempting to control more apparent. It'll make the lies more apparent. And that can be really difficult for the person energy to deal with. And so post an awakening, thought may become even stronger than it was before, even more intense than it was before that point of realization. But this is all completely irrelevant. Person will want to make it meaningful. It will want the drama. It will want the story of its awakening. It will want to be identified as an awakened, enlightened person that has something to do, somewhere to go, something to figure out, some process to complete. And that's okay. It's irrelevant. Okay, the person might still attempt to clean up its cage. So Kate might still struggle with the things that Kate struggles with. Day-to-day things, preferences, likes and dislikes, urges, resistance, negative thinking. That's all still going to be there. It's not going to go away. The difference is now it can be seen. It's really important to get that. And thought, as a problem fixer, as a navigator or controller, it sits for most people at the forefront of experience. So what's really here is missed. And that's why it feels like something's not right. And that's why satisfaction is never found in form. What's really here is absolute stillness, complete and total silence. There is silence speaking through this form, and there is silence hearing these words. There is silence in these words. Silence is speaking these words. There's nothing here. This is an empty world, but it's not the kind of empty that Western society associates the word empty with. Depressive, lacking. In the same sense, it could be considered full, utterly full of itself. There is just one thing. There is just one life. There is just one energy. And in that sense, it's full. I have a really cool tea today. Looks like a sea anemone. Okay, you don't have to do anything to wake up to this realization. It's already here. It's already what you are. In fact, you can't do anything to get here. It won't work. Doing's not going to get you here. This is about listening. But you can't get anything in this listening unless you're hearing silence. When I first heard this message, it was really profound. And it was heard after 10 years of intense spirituality. And it was heard. And this form began to play with thought. So I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would begin to throw my thoughts out. They would arise. I want to go to the bathroom. I need a glass of water. I don't like this dream I'm having. I wonder what I'm going to do in the morning. They would just come and go. And each time a thought came, it was thrown out. And then there was silence. And the silence was love. This message can't fix your life. You have to do that. But not you as you. You don't actually do anything. Life does it. Life adjusts to the balance that it needs in order to reveal the most truth in the moment. And that's all it's ever doing. And that's why there's discomfort. And the more lies there are in the physical experience of the body, the more uncomfortable the truth is going to be. So getting lost in that discomfort and fixing the discomfort happens. But it's irrelevant if it happens or not, because everything is ultimately leading itself in one direction, and that is to a continual awakening, a continual death in every moment. The continual realization of what's really here. This is the most profound, earth-shattering message there is. And it doesn't have to come from this point of reference, Kate. It's coming from everything. Your entire life is this realization. Every single moment is this grace. And it doesn't necessarily look like grace or love. There's definitely a romantic period post-awakening. Awakening is extremely pleasurable. But that pleasure doesn't last, but the realization does not go away. And that which is thought is something that doesn't go away. That which is sought is something that doesn't go away. So attempting to find yourself in form, in experience, in thought, in feelings is a dead end. But that's okay. It's irrelevant. There's nothing you need to fix, nothing you need to change, nothing you need to modify to be what you already are. What you are is right here. It's this. It's the tea. It's the sound of the refrigerator humming. It's the light in the room. It's the bad posture. Go ahead and get the house, and the fortune, and the lover, and the family. And the success, and the travel. This is what experience is for. What you're truly looking for is already had. It's already here. And if you can't hear this message, then the best question before asking direct inquiry, who am I? The best question might be, what am I afraid of? And that might be a better form of exploration than who am I. Before you ask, who am I? It has to be understood what's covering this stillness, this love, this presence. And I'm happy to walk you through that if this is a difficult question for you. But without examination and without willingness to let go, there will continue to be resistance and constriction in the body. And it may still continue to be there post-awakening, but it will be there to a much, much lesser extent. never did anything wrong. You made no mistakes. Your life isn't an error. Because you are not really here. You are not really that which is experiencing life. Life is experiencing you.